welcome to another episode of Publishing by the Numbers. This is episode 30, and it is approximately May 7th, 8th, depending on where you're at. I'm Janet Brown, and I'm here today with my amazing co-host, Virginia Anderson. Hello, Virginia.
Hello.
Who's looking all stylish because it's getting cold where she's at, where CJ and I are at. We're now stripping down to the t-shirts and the shorts, and because we're all flip-flopped, but she gets to look all cute and sweatery, and the rest of us are just so warm. And CJ and I, hi CJ.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, bebopping along. So today, this month, in fact, we're going to be talking more about, we're going back into the business side of things. We've been talking about some genres, about different organizations. And this month, we want to hit some of the things that help you to build a good publishing business. And also some of those questions we get all the time, like, how do I get reviews? And what's important to make things go? And how do I brand stuff? And what's a newsletter? So again, all subjects we will come back to in the future because there's way too much to cover in 4 weeks, and especially just in 4 episodes. But we wanted to kind of get our feet wet here with, some of our observations and some things that we can help you with when it comes to running your little business. So today we are going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is what I call the publishing triangle. I don't think anybody else calls it this, so, trademark to me or something. Anyway, so the publishing triangle is these pillars of publishing, the pillars of the heart of publishing that make it so you can have a successful company. This does not guarantee success, but pretty darn close. So the 3 things that we really feel like you have to have in place in order to have your publishing company be successful is you need to have a quantity of books at a required quality, and you got to market them. If you skip any of those 3 things, you're really, really, really going to struggle to have a publishing business that is successful and that can sustain itself over a number of years. So those are our 3 things that we're going to talk about today, is those 3 legs of the triangle and why they are important. So Virginia, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to send you your very favorite one. Why do we need to have quality books? Can't we just, rip off whatever, treat them like widgets, get them out the door?
Well, you can't fool your customer once, but you're not going to fool them all the time. It's when I go buy a book and then I can see all those, typo, grammar errors, and book not properly formatted. It just looks really amateur, and you might have gotten me in there because you have some fancy marketing pitch. But then that's it. You're not going to fool me twice. So the quality is really essential. I think not just in this business, but in any business. It's if you provide your service, and if your service is crap, you're going to get people fooled once, but they're not going to come back. So it is just, if you want repeat customers, if you want the longevity rather than just this, I get you once and then I'm done, I've burned everything, then quality is essential, it's must. It's just a non-negotiable thing of that triangle that Jenna mentioned. And for a triangle, I know, my math has never been good, like geometrics never been good, but my understanding is if you're missing one of the point in the triangle, it's not going to work. So yeah, it's going to collapse. So make sure that the quality should be always there. It is just a prerequisite, non-negotiable.
So CJ, building on that, what are some of the aspects people need to look at when it comes to the quality? Because, CJ, Virginia mentioned having typos and that kind of thing. What other things catch your eye immediately and tell you, hey, this book does not have the quality that it needs to make good sales?
Many times it's very easy to tell whether an author actually understood the material that they were writing about. Is this something that is, example, nonfiction? Is this something that is actually delving in deep into the problems that I need solved? Or is it very surface material type of stuff that doesn't actually offer any solutions to the problems that I'm seeking to understand? And that's just one example for nonfiction. There are several others. For fiction, Is it actually hitting the market that it's supposed to? Are the characters well defined? Are the stories hitting the mark when it comes to plot and structure? So it's not just about typos, it's about content. It really is. What type of content are you delivering? And is it the right type of content for the specific market that you're targeting? Is it well written? Is it engaging? Is it interesting? So aside from the very important copy editing, proofreading, line editing type of stuff that really should be done that can jar a reader out of the experience, is the story a story that people are going to want to read? And that has a lot to do with either you as an author taking the time to learn the art of creative writing and improving your craft and honing it, or if you're doing a ghostwriting business type of model, finding the right ghostwriters and being willing to pay the amount of money that you need to get quality work written, and to make sure and understand that niche market so that you know that they're actually writing quality work. So those are some things that you need to pay attention to. And that starts with what we have harped on from day one, which is market research, understanding who your target audience is and writing accordingly based on what type of content they expect to see within the books that they're reading.
Cool. And I will add to that, from a very aesthetic point of view, you got to have a good cover. You're going to be competing with the other covers in your genre. The cover is very often the first thing that people see, and very often they only see it in thumbnail. They see itty bitty teeny tiny covers. And if your cover doesn't catch their attention and doesn't scream professionalism, people aren't going to click on that to ever get to your amazing content. You can write the best story ever, but if your cover looks homemade, if your cover isn't well put together, if it's not interesting, if it doesn't speak to your genre, then nobody's going to click any farther to figure out that your story is amazing. Likewise, the description that you put on Amazon, that description needs to be engaging. It needs to pull people in. There were heat maps that were done of people looking at Amazon's sales page, and they look first at the cover and then at the description, and then they check out the title and the pricing, and then they either make a decision and click, or they scroll down and double check the reviews, or they just click away. So those descriptions, the title, the cover, those are really important things to have right, and to have that really scream, this is a professional book, because that's where people look. And the days of being able to say, I'm just going to toss a book up and it's okay if it's all handmade looking, those are over. Back in the very, very early days of Kindle, you could kind of get away with it because there weren't very many ebooks. So you didn't have any competition. So people would download anything, and it didn't matter if it was, you made your cover in paint. It just didn't matter. Now it matters because traditional publishing is in there, and the indies are kicking butt and taking names. You need to look like you belong with all of the other top quality people in your genre. All right, now we're going to go to the other cue. Unless, did you have something else, Virginia? I
Yeah,
saw your
sorry.
mouth move.
Yeah, because my bird, no, it's not my bird, the birds that are singing. So, yes, nowadays it's really easy for people to leave a review. And I don't know if you noticed, people rarely leave a positive review because it's just expected. But if your book is crap, oh, believe me, they're all going to go rush to the review section and tell you how crap your book is. So you will always have trolls. That's not what I'm talking about. But if the quality is not there, they will make everyone know about it. So pay attention to that.
Marvelous. Well, while you're on a roll, Miss Virginia, let's talk about quantity. Can't I just have a one-hit wonder? I want to publish my magnum opus and make $1 gazillion. Why is this not something that I can have?
Well, I'm going to be brutal. No one cares.
It's a brutal okay zone.
No one cares about you, me, or CJ as much. It's so again, you need first, like CJ said, you need to write a book that has a demand. If you want to make any money off of it, if it's just a passion project and you just want to get your book out there, fine. But if you want to run this as a business and make money, you first thing first, market research, write a book on the topic that has a demand. And then I guess the only example I can think of that's kind of like that one book that went viral maybe it's the 50 Shades of Grey. Was it that one? No, it wasn't.
That was in a series.
That
It
was a
was a
series.
series.
So, okay. I can't
I mean,
I can think of
I there's very few that I can think of where it's a single book that actually is carrying somebody through. There's often books where we think that's the only one they have, but usually it's that whole, it's a 10-year overnight success. There's actually a lot of books out there, but you get one that goes viral, which is, we call that a lightning strike. And really as publishers, we want the lightning strike. But the way that you increase your odds of getting a book that goes absolutely nuts is by having a lot of books out there to
yeah.
get
I think
struck.
it's a little bit like playing lottery, right? So what is what is the likely chance of you winning the big ticket because you bought the ticket once? Not very likely. But if you buy it often enough, it does increase your chance of winning the big tickets, right? So a lot, if you are a nobody, I'm not saying that in a like a pejorative way, it's just if you're not a known public figure, and if you have only one book, it's the likely chance of you getting this book out there and get like thousands of sales, it's just close to none. So that's why you need to have the quantity. And I think also fiction and nonfiction differs a little bit, because with fiction, you often use the first book in the book series as a hook to get them hooked in. So once I read the first Hercule Poirot, then I want to know what's happening after, like what are the other crimes he's going to solve, and you are developing this kind of relationship with Hercule, where he's annoying, but at the same time he's endearing. So, and you're hooked in. You're like, because he's clever, right? And you're trying to outsmart him. And I mean, when I say you, I mean really me. I think that every time I think I'm going to solve this before the final reveal, and I never solve it. So it's that, that kind of fiction book, it's like you are hooking people in with that character, you are developing that relationship with your readers. Non-fiction, I think it's a little bit different, because there's not such a thing. Say if I'm writing a book series on how to use Microsoft Office suite tools, I'm not going to necessarily hook you in with my first book about how to use Excel. Very unlikely. But I'm creating a authority for me. So you might have seen a book on Excel, you might have seen a book on PowerPoint, you might have seen one on Word, another one on how to use Outlook. So it's just the sheer volume of me writing on this topic that will drive the volume of the sales.
Yeah, and in nonfiction, the series is very often connected by theme, where in fiction we might connect it by setting, we might connect it by characters, things like that in a different way than but even so, most of the time, if you're only writing one nonfiction book and it's going to go with a back-end product, so you have a course, you have something you're selling, that can work just fine within that. But if you're really leaning on the books as being the thing that's going to be money making, you generally want to have more than one. CJ, anything to add?
Just that one book does not a publishing company make. It does not make a business. You cannot, I mean, unless it's that unicorn scenario where that book just went viral and is making you all of this money. It's like, okay, well, if one high quality book got me this far, imagine what 10 high quality books would do. Also, fans like to follow someone. So I will say again, one book does not a following make. It's really hard for fans to follow you if they've only got one product to devour. And so you need to be making books, you need to be writing books, you need to be producing them, you need to be publishing them. They need to be high quality, but you need to have quantity, because if you just have a couple out there and you've done an ad, sent someone with an ad there, and you've read one book, two, and they're just like, okay, great. Where are the others? And there are no others. They're gonna, hem and haw and go, okay, will there be more out? And if you don't have any news as to when anything else is coming out, they're gonna be like, oh, womp womp, and then forget about you. They're not going to remember to come back and check to see if you have more books out. And if you have no intention of putting more books out, then where else do they go when it comes to you? So quantity, always producing books, always getting those books out there and feeding what I like to call the beast. Feeding the masses, feeding the audience, because you are going to build a relationship with that audience and they're going to be excited to consume what you create. So create a lot and you will find success with that. That's one of the key elements that you need there.
Now, with this, I will toss out there, when we talk about a lot, we are not talking about make yourself crazy, burn out and die and never want to do this and hate writing.
Exactly.
Because that can happen. And we do feel a pressure in this industry that people say, well, you've got to write a quantity of books. And people say, well, that means it must be at least a book a month. I can't do that. I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't let that take the joy of what you're doing away from you. We're not talking about necessarily a book a month. Some people can do that and yay for them. And some genres really, really reward that. But we're saying, look at your schedule, look at your business and see what is reasonable. Just like saying 13 books in a year might be way too many for somebody. Also saying one book every 5 years, it really, really throws your audience. And you see big names who are doing this and the amount of crap that they are taking. George R. R. Martin, he's so in the doghouse with most of his fans because they've waited for more than 5 years and he keeps putting out these little bitty little things, but he's not finishing the series that they're connected to. So you do want to make sure that you give your readers something that is consistent and that you say, this is the consistent pace that I can hold up that gives them an acceptable quantity with an acceptable quality over time. So don't think we're telling you must publish 12 books a year in order to do this, but you probably need to publish more than one every 2 or 3 years. You just have to do something to put it together. So this now leads us to our last leg. And this is the leg that nobody likes to talk about. Not nobody. There are those of us who are nuts about marketing and we in a positive way, and we do like talking about it. But for a lot of people going into publishing, they say, I just want to create books. I don't want to market them. I wish to sit in my ivory tower and have people throw money at me. I would like an ivory tower first, but then throwing money sounds really, really nice. So the first thing I will say about this, and then I will turn it back over to V. So think about what your thought is going to be, is that the way that some people try to get away from this is they say, I will just go traditional. And if I'm in traditional publishing, I don't have to market. So let me destroy that myth right now.
Do it.
It's not the case. And it's definitely not the case anymore. Right now, if you get somebody like Stephen King, somebody like Brandon Sanderson, who is already a product of traditional publishing, they will get marketing money because they already make the company money. That's who the first marketing money goes to. A debut author in general will get very, very little advance, and they will get somewhere between about $0 and $1,000 in marketing money. And that's it, boys and girls. And they expect you to build a platform, have followers, have a newsletter, do things to help move your book. Because if you don't, and you don't sell enough books, they will drop your contract. And their contracts have nice loopholes for them to get out of the contract if you do not make your numbers. And they're not going to give you all of that. They rely on you to help make your own numbers. Okay, so you just have to think about that. That's not to say that some of you will not benefit by going to traditional publishing or may not really love that, but you just have to know you don't get away from this no matter how you go about publishing. And you also have to think that traditional publishing, it's not really a black and white choice. It's not be self-published or be traditional published. It is be self-published and know that your work is going to go out, or pursue traditional publishing and you may get a contract someday, maybe. Okay, it's not a black and white choice. The choice is I know it's going to go out or I'm going to pursue it. Just this has been bugging me this week. So Russell Norrie talked about it and I've been thinking about it and he's very right. So that's the thing. Marketing has to be a thing. Now go, Virginie.
Okay, so back again to what you're doing this for. Is it a hobby or is it a business? If it's a hobby, don't care about marketing, fine. If you're running this as a business, you have to embrace marketing. I know that a lot of you don't like to think about it. How people are going to know about you other than your family, your friends, if you don't market your book? So it is just, you can't go without it. you have to. So if you have to, you might as well embrace it rather than saying, so I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I don't want to do it. Change the dialogue, the narrative in your mind. This is there's a lot of mindset thing here. Really just say, okay, this is something that I have to do. So I might as well embrace it. I'm going to love it. Just use that as a mantra. I love marketing. I love marketing, until fake it until you really believe it, right? So so marketing is the third leg, the third thing in the triangle. I don't know what do you call it, that the third point, the third angle?
They're legs.
So
they're legs. The angles are at the tips, and these things are legs.
So third leg, you cannot do without it. So just accept it, embrace it. And then there's a lot of way of doing marketing. Marketing is such a big word, right? Are we talking about email marketing? Are we talking about social media marketing? What are we talking about? But we are going to, with Elantum Digital, so a little bit of a shameless promotion. We all do marketing for our own books, and we know how to do it. So this is something that you can discuss on a one-on-one coaching call, or if you join our Q&A sessions. Those are things, the kind of things that we're going to take you through. The good news is marketing nowadays is so much easier than how it used to be. There are so many tools, not all paid. There's an organic way of increasing your followers, organic way of building your email list. But I think really the starting point is embrace it, accept that it's part of this business, and then learn one thing at a time. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do email marketing and then build a landing page and do social media marketing and then so there's a Facebook, there's Instagram, there's a TikTok, there's a YouTube video shorts, there's Snapchat. I don't even know what's the next new thing, because there's going to be always a new thing coming up, and you just have to do one thing at a time, and be careful with that instant gratification. Things take time. So, and especially in marketing, consistency is really, really important. If you said that you're going to send a newsletter out to your email subscribers every week, then that's what you got to do. You can't do like once every day and then suddenly nothing. They're going to forget about you. So consistency is really, really key. It doesn't matter what type of marketing you do. And try different things, because maybe social media is not for you. Maybe email marketing is not for you. So you just got to try different things. And before you give me the whole, I hate Facebook, I don't use it even for my personal use, why am I going to use it for my business? Well, your competitors are using it. So it's up to you. You don't have to. I don't use Facebook for my personal. I'm rarely there. I maybe check once a week, and even then. But we use it for our business because it is a tool. So again, it goes back to the mindset. I think it's really that narrative that you have within yourself, and then and I'm going to pass the mic because some of you might be thinking, okay, what's the shortcut? The shortcut is I'm going to outsource it. I'm going to hire someone to do it for me, which is not a bad idea, but you got to understand the basics of it, because otherwise, how are you going to even give instructions to the person who's going to help you with, say, social media marketing? Or how are you going to measure their performance? You got to measure everything. So you hire them, and then at the end of the week, what have they done? How many followers do you have? How many email subscriptions did you get? What's the conversion rate? What does it translate in terms of sales volumes? So all those things need to be measured, and you cannot measure those things if you don't even know what you're talking about and you can't give instructions. So I think it's really important as a business owner to understand the basics of it. And I like to do things at least once myself to understand how it works. And then the things that I just, okay, this is just not for me. You can outsource, but then you know what you're outsourcing. So yeah, so that's my feedback on marketing.
Marvelous. CJ, what do you think? Do you have to do it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Discoverability is the other half of that coin, right? Or rather the triangle, the other leg of that triangle. It's super important, guys, because you can make the most beautiful, most wonderful, most marketable, most fabulous book in the world that's going to sell gangbusters. But who will it sell gangbusters to if no one knows about it? Ponder that for a moment. Deep questions here. So I really want you to consider the fact that it all is really centered on you deciding, okay, marketing must happen. I'm going to get my brain wrapped around this. But know also that you don't have to market to every place. V touched on this. Jana touched on this. Marketing is huge. There are so many ways that you could do this. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, who am I targeting? And you should have known that by now. By the way, shame on you if you don't. I'm kidding. I'm not shaming you, but please go back and figure that out. Okay. Who is this book for? Okay. And then recognize that because you have a very specific market or a very specific audience that you are targeting, that means you don't have to market everywhere to everyone. So if the majority of your audience is on Facebook, focus on Facebook and Facebook ads. Okay. If the majority of your audience is on Instagram, if they're on TikTok, if they're on, consider ABC, all of these other social media platforms, focus on one place first where the majority of your audience goes to hang out and to talk and to play and have fun and to look at books. Focus on that first. And really try your hand in it and understand it, like V said. And then if dealing with that type of social media is something that you despise, you would rather take a bullet in the head than do that, then obviously hire it out, find someone else to do it. But as long as you know that's the place where you should be, and that's the place where you should target. Okay. And so it really is a matter of finding the elements of marketing that work best for your books and work best for your target audience. And there's no need to then do 50 million marketing strategies that are going to make you go crazy. So marketing can be very effective and very streamlined as long as you know who you are marketing to. And then you go from there. Okay. So that's all I want to say on that one. But yeah, you better do it, because dang, just do it.
Oh, and all I am going to say to add to those wonderful things is that please remember that your publishing business, your publishing career, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We feel this pressure that says, oh, I've got to make it now, as though there will never be a reading public ever again if I don't put out all the books and all the marketing things and all the everything right this very second. That's not true. What publishing will look like over the years has changed and will change again. But the art of telling people stories, the art of education and entertainment, that's never going to go away. There will always be a space for us. There will always be a space for the stories you want to tell. There will always be a way to make money at it. So you don't have to say just because you can't do all of the things right now that you're not going to be able to be successful. And so that's the thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Now, I'll also say there is just a little bit of flexibility in our triangle. And so you'll find at different times things like when you put out your very first books, if they're high in quality and you do a lot of marketing, you can make decent money with fewer books, but it's harder. So the more these legs are in balance, the easier the whole process is. You can still make it go with one of the legs out of whack, but then the others have to work harder to overcome it. So, because I know someone's going to say, well, I know somebody who only puts out a book once every so many years and they do this, that, and the other, and they're doing fine. Yeah, they probably are. Okay, because that does happen. I know people who only put out one book a year or one book every 18 months, and they're doing okay. But the way that they make up for having that lower quantity is that the quality of their books is impeccable and their marketing is all the time. It's continually connecting with that audience and keeping them in the loop and keeping them working until the next book comes out. And you wouldn't have to do nearly as much of the marketing, and you could maybe slide just fractionally on your quality if you had a few more products to sell. So just remember that you can adjust these legs, but the more in balance they are, the easier your publishing will be. All right, the very serious subjects aside, CJ, darling CJ, what is irrelevant in your world today? Do we have a pug story?
Do we ever? So
I love the pug stories. It's
Pug
true.
Life, episode 25. I'm pretty sure I no longer know, and I'm pretty sure no one cares. We we have discussed the many things that Spike has done when it comes to eating and what he likes to eat. So he was in his kennel suspiciously. Usually he just wants to be sitting on my lap when I'm trying to work and I'm trying to, and half the time I'm hyper focused. So I don't even know that he snuck up onto my lap and I'm working and suddenly, oh, there's a pug there. And that's why my back is all weird because I've been hunched in a different way working. So he was in his kennel while I was working and I finally took note and I was like, why is this dog not on my lap? Not that I was complaining because I was finally comfortable, but I could not figure out what was going on. And I walk over there and I notice that he's moving his head up and down, up and down. And I'm like, what is he doing? He had found the biggest whopper of a grasshopper, like the biggest grasshopper I have ever seen. I'm talking mutant bug here. And it was laying in his kennel. And he was just sniffing it and it was moving its little legs, touching his nose. And I was like, how sweet and weird. I mean, this is weird, but how sweet. And I was like, oh, Spike, did you find a friend? And right when I was saying friend, he went and just ate it.
Oh no.
Like, I'm still like replaying the events in like it is visually stuck in there. I think I had a nightmare last night about it, but it was just like this enormous grasshopper was gone, just vanished. And I looked at him and I was like, Spike, you okay. And then I just sat back down and started working and he ate that entire grasshopper. And I thought about it. I was like, I mean, good protein, but how sad because I thought you were friends. It was disturbing. I was disturbed. That is all.
Wow. Well, that plays right into the domestic thrillers episode from last week. the things that happen in those friend relationships. Dun dun dun.
Poor
All right,
grasshopper.
Virginie.
Oh.
Are there grasshoppers in your world?
No, it's more horror, I would say, because there's nothing subtle about that.
That's true. It is probably horror.
No, but in continuing to my last week's irrelevant moment where I got a $461 fine and 6 demerit points because apparently I went through a red light, I've decided I'm going to contest it because
nice.
Yes.
That's no. I mean, I look at the pictures and I think there's an argument to be made. The only challenge is whilst I do have a driver license, I'm not sure I'm across exactly about the road rules. Really. So I'm looking into all the rules to see if I can find some sort of loophole to argue my case. So that's it. That's my new thing. Yeah.
Well, you've been a lawyer. So
Yeah.
if anyone can argue your way out of that, I do believe it's you.
So this is a motto of mine in life is whenever you receive a fine, always contest it just for the sake of it. So yeah, that's a principle of life that I stand by. Anyway, Jenna, how about you?
Nice. Well, mine today. So I have a 27-year-old who still lives in my home, and she is amazing and wonderful. And she decided this year she got a skateboard for Christmas that she got herself for Christmas. So it's a thing, but she's decided this year she's going to learn how to skateboard. And she was skateboarding with my other child who rides a scooter much more reasonable because at least it's got handles you can grab onto when you're going to fall off. And having fallen off a couple times, she decided she needed to get some elbow and knee protection, all this kind of stuff. So today that all arrives and she decks herself out and it's very, very cute and all of these things. And I go back to my office and I hear the door close. So I assume that she is outside testing out her skateboard. And then my younger daughter, Sana, yells from the other room and she says, "Erin's screaming." And I'm like, oh crap, she's biffed it on her skateboard. I'm picturing blood. I'm picturing all of these things. So I go racing outside, which right now my back is wonky. So racing is hard. And yet I am still a mom. And when I'm chased by a bear or there is a child in danger, you forget about the pain and you go to take care of the problem. So I go racing outside and I can't find her anywhere. It's like, what? She has to be close enough someone heard her screaming. So I come back in and I ask my kid, "Where is Erin?" "Oh, well, she's down in her room." And then I can hear the screaming coming from down there. Like, what in the world has she done? So now I go running down the stairs and here she is. And yes, she's madder than all get out, but it has nothing to do with the skateboard. It has to do with the fact that she upended an entire soda and she's got a desk and a desktop, a very, very nice gaming computer sitting right next to it. She bumped the soda and it all poured right into the vent of her very nice desktop.
No.
And we are waiting to see whether or not the computer is going to recover. So it was a good reason for screaming, but it totally wasn't the reason that I thought it was.
Oh,
So
no.
there is no blood, but there is apple beer in the computer.
So
Oh,
we're all
that's a
waiting
great
for it.
line. There is no blood, but there was apple beer in the computer. I'm taking
Yep, totally
that's
use
going
that.
somewhere.
Feel free, because
Yeah.
so we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if everything starts back up. But
Yeah, I
that
want to
was my
say
moment. She was not physically injured, but as everyone who owns a computer and has ever done something like that knows, or anyone who's dropped their phone in the toilet, there's still injury involved there. When we heard our technology, it hurts something deep inside of us.
Totally.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. You can find the show and the show notes at www.elantumdigital.com and follow the podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast distributor. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye now.
Bye for now.
Bye.